Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Sith Dominion Dark Side News. I am your host. I am always your host. Dana Martin, Dr. Dana Martin, Doc Martin, but not Doc Martin like the shoe. It's not spelled the same. So we're here on the Sith Dominion to check out all things Star Wars, but from a Sith perspective. I have a doctorate in organizational leadership, so using real-world examples and melding it with Sith lore seems like a jolly good time. So that's what we're going to do on this show. My co-host and guest for later, Zane. Zane is a college student from San Marcos, Texas, Texas State. It's an interesting collection you have back there. So today we're going to be talking with Zane a little bit. He's going to help me out. Remember that our new Geek News Now channel, Geek News Now Official on YouTube, where you can check out MCU Mondays, Cam in Focus, The Geek Gauntlet, Cantina Happy Hour. I've been on that show a couple times. And all my other fellow writers over at geeknewsnow.net. So, how are you doing? What's some of the stuff that you've been looking at lately? I mean, we've got some Ahsoka is, I guess, probably the biggest news. But you know, everyone talks about Ahsoka and her lightsabers and all this crap. But what stoked me was, oh my God, is that more Sith? Or no, that's not a bleeding crystal. Someone help me, please. Tell me what you thought when you saw that.
So, first thoughts on that was, it's insane that we already are getting, like, a character like this again. You know, a character that seems more Sith-like than Kylo Ren ever was. Not to... Yeah, so...
Sorry, all you Kylo fans.
No, but I think that lightsaber is very interesting in that it's not just red, but it has that orangish hue in it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know a lot about bleeding crystals, but last time I checked, they turn red, not orange.
Yes.
So it'd be kind of cool to see, his whole backstory on that.
So
maybe where he could have been hiding and stuff.
And I know that this is all within the Thrawn universe, and I would hope that you would agree. If not, please call me out. But a lot of what we know, or what we've seen, or think we know, some of it seems very Thrawn trilogy-esque. Yes, that's just, my thought.
I totally agree. There's a lot there, honestly.
Well, and the old dude, I can't, but Balin, or
yeah,
he seems that he reminds me of Jorius Sabath, or I don't know how to say his name, but he was the clone that Palpatine had guarding the thing in Heir to the Empire, I think. So, yeah, this is exciting because this is like my stuff. Not to say anything about your stuff. Kylo's your guy or whatever, but no, Kylo. It's all good. Kylo's got.
I'll stay away from him.
He's got his pluses. So what do you think about kind of the significance of bringing that kind of pseudo? I don't want to say gray Jedi with Ahsoka, right? But we all know she's not a Jedi, and she's not dark side. And what is she? And we don't want to speculate what Filoni's going to do, but it's been very clear it's not going to be gray Jedi. So now we've got this other dark side equivalency, maybe, that is not quite Sith, but maybe dark side. You?
Well, it's been shown throughout Rebels and stuff that there are other dark side, light side users. They don't necessarily have to be confined to the Jedi and Sith name. So, like, Balin for sure, I don't see him as being Sith in name, but maybe Sith in culture. I think you're like,
No, yeah, no, keep going.
I just think the way that he's going to be acting, just with how he is already shown, he shows really composed, but also very emotion driven already. Just through the few scenes that I have seen of him in the trailer.
Yes. I just
Moving on.
well, I think the whole he's got his apprentice too, right?
Hmm.
Hati, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but certainly that is exciting as well. Now you're like, okay, we'll rule two, right? Because we've got two, so it is Sith, or maybe it's not. Yeah, it's real exciting. I think to see what they do with it, and I can't imagine an actual Sith being. Oh, what's the word here? What am I trying to say? What are they doing? Tied to like Thrawn using them as pawns. Now I know
Hmm.
Palpatine did, but Palpatine was his Vader's master, right? He wasn't just an officer. And Tarkin held his leash, but he didn't command him or tell him what to do in many cases. It wasn't that he was subservient. This, in the way almost, I'm afraid they're going to make that dark side character be subservient to Thrawn, and not sure how I feel about that.
Well, I remember you mentioned that there are a lot of similarities between what we have seen already and the original trilogy for Thrawn. And I think one of the big things is that it almost seems like he's going to be used as Thrawn's pawn, just like whatever his name was, you know?
Sure.
That being said, there's one scene that's sticking out in my mind that I can't get over, and it's he is deflecting laser bolts or whatever from like an Imperial ship,
Mm,
you know, with I don't remember that officer's name or whatever from the Mandalorian show. You know what I'm
yes.
talking about? The one who wiped the guy's memory.
Yes, I can't
But
remember his name.
if I'm not mistaken, that was her on the ship shooting at
What?
him.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
totally gonna have to check that out again. Oh my god. Uh, so here I got one more point here. I think that I'd like to chat with you about. So,
Mhm.
know that Ahsoka and I there's an article on shameless plug Geek News Now that I wrote about why Ahsoka needs that show, like why she's deserving of all the characters, why it needs to be centered around her. But I think that as Ahsoka in the Rebels series where you see her really up in Darth Vader's face, and it's like this. Oh my God, she's angry. Like oh, it's just gonna. I just wonder if there's gonna be some of that with her in this. Her struggle still to walk that fine line between light and dark.
I mean, I totally see that, honestly. We saw in Rebels a lot. There was a good amount of times where she would go away from what the Jedi would deem right to save Ezra and the entire
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix Squadron. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past her to be trying to toe that line, and especially in a series where she's trying to find Ezra,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna see a lot of that uh, mental struggle.
Mm. Yeah, agreed. That's always good. I love seeing that struggle. The storytelling, especially in the books, of course, canon and otherwise, um, really try to humanize to humanize the struggle of Ahsoka Tano, who's I can never say it. Yeah.
Tortuga?
No. No.
Close
Anyways,
enough.
so well, thanks for your input on that. That was fantastic. So our next segment is Dark Side Deep Dive with Dr. Dana. I'm going to use some of my skill, education, background, etc. to break down some Sith type things and make it applicable to leadership. How about that? So one of the cool things about Palpatine is he didn't just, I have this big fleet, Revan, I'm going to churn out these dark, vessel, whatever. Like, it wasn't like that. He's a Sith architect. And when I hear Sith architect, I think, oh my goodness, this is not something that happens overnight. On Naboo, they start early in public service, but what do you think about how that helped him orchestrate all of this from the very beginning?
Well, I mean, initially on Naboo, they would be required to do some public service from the ages of like 12 to 20. And during that time, he had met Plagueis at around age 19 or so. And so, he already had his feet deep first
Mm-hmm.
in politics at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Plagueis under watch of him, it was later that he became a senator because of Plagueis and his ways to manipulate those around him.
Mm-hmm. Manipulate, such a strong word. I prefer influence.
Yes.
So I, one of the yes, Plagueis manipulated, and I believe that to some extent, and it was made clear that there was some manipulation of the dark side to shroud some things from Palpatine, but he didn't just manipulate. He influenced. He gained people's trust. He built rapport. This is what you do as an entrepreneur, small business owner, or just an employee. You build those relationships. That's how you establish the circle within circle that continues to grow. And as that grows, your pyramid goes up. So that's exactly what he did. I mean, he employed some really cool apprentices that, surround yourself with successful people and you too shall be successful. So so who was Palpatine's first apprentice? Because I don't remember that. It wasn't Maul, was it?
Was it not Maul?
Was it Maul?
It would have to have been Maul because unless he had a few apprentices under Plagueis, I mean, Maul's the only one that matches up timeline wise.
Would you say that he played loose with the rule of two?
He played very loose.
The Sith shall rule. What? Which ones? The one, like, dude. Yeah, he was a little liberal with that rule. But I mean, that rule's important.
Very important.
What would you say with? Oh, so how the Trade Federation was under his control, and you had the Separatists with Dooku in control. What I don't know any other way he could have been more successful than creating all of that off to the side, all the while having another entire army being built on the other side. That doesn't happen overnight. We call that vision in leadership. Tell me what you think about that, like how he had to go through and plan that, and how he could use the dark side, obviously, to see, somewhat into the future. We know about this. So tell me what you think about all that.
I mean, it's already crazy that he was able to do a lot of the other side stuff from underneath the noses of everyone there. But I think what's really crazy is the mastery used to create the clones. Having Sifo Dyas and Count Dooku and all of them deal with that. And then, even then, whenever he had dirty work done, he always had people around him do it. Yeah. He was never the one who dipped his toes in, unless it was like rare cases like throughout Clone Wars where you see it. But I mean, he had a lot of inside people that he used, is what I think.
So do you think so John Maxwell is one of my favorite authors. I had mentioned earlier, I'm Maxwell DISC certified. He says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And while that can be debated, I think it stands on its own and it's important. Yes, Palpatine used the dark side and he manipulated people and whatnot, but he also never would have gotten into the position had he not built rapport, built those relationships, created this network around him of success that filled the gaps where he needed help. And that's what we all should do. And in business and in our lives, surround yourself with successful people. The moment that Dooku became a little toxic, he just beheaded him. I mean, no, I'm not suggesting that. That is not what I'm suggesting. But so, yeah. All right. So, thanks for your input, because I think that's something. All right, our next segment is a Korriban Corner. This is where we bring in people as our guests and co-hosts or guest co-hosts or what have you. Sometimes it'll be popular authors or producers. Well, maybe if we get big enough. Right now, we have Zane. He is as I stated before, a student at Southwest. He's finished his first year. He's going into his sophomore year. Did you get enough credits for a sophomore year? You're muted, so yeah, dude, I got nothing.
I was already a sophomore beforehand.
Oh, you're one of them
to
smart
college.
kids.
Yeah.
You're one of them geeky kids with all
Yeah,
the.
so
What
I
it-
was.
man? Okay, whatever. All right, so tell me about Star Wars and your interest and how all that happened and why you feel that you know a little bit enough to have a conversation about dark side stuff. Go.
Well, I mean, it all started back in 2005 when Revenge of the Sith came out. I'm joking. I mean, the best Star Wars movie. No, but it really all started around, I'd say around like middle school. I mean, is when I really started dipping my toes in that. I started reading a lot of the old texts, the legends.
The sacred Jedi texts.
And I started really getting into a lot of the stuff that was there, and
Yeah.
I really thought that a lot of the characters seemed very personal.
Mhm.
I could really connect with a lot of the stories that were going on there, but also it was just really cool to see how all the stories intertwined into one giant universe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking dark side aficionado here, well, I mean, not to brag, but I'm a legendary player on that Star Wars tour game. Includes the 4 dark side paths.
Oh my goodness.
No, but I have played a lot of KOTOR, so I've gone through
Mhm.
multiple versions of those. A lot of the old Republic books I've read are all dark side based. You're talking your Darth
Mhm.
Bane, your Malgus, your Revan, all of those. Amazing.
That's a lot of reading, man. I mean, I had to do a lot of reading for my so I read a lot of those books in the that were canon at first. And then when Lucas and Arts and all that happened with Disney, I ended up just stopping, and I was right at the beginning of the Yuuzhan Vong War, and so I stopped reading them because why? It didn't matter, and I threw a temper fit and took all my books to half price, and now I wish I had them again because they were very good written, well written books, and great authors. Aaron Alston, Michael Stackpole, of course, Thrawn trilogy. My goodness,
Timothy Zahn.
thank you, Timothy Zahn.
Is it Drew Carpenship or whatever how you say his name?
Yep, and shoot. Anyways, there's tons of them. R.A. Salvatore wrote some. So, yeah, that's awesome. I noticed your collection. You got some Funko
Up
Pops,
there?
and then
Yeah.
oh yeah, the Pops are cool. What is
The
all
Pops
that?
are-
Is that episode 3?
So these are all action figures that I happened upon in a storage shed. They're all from episode 3, whenever that movie came out. I'm assuming around that time. Yeah, there's a lot of them there. They weren't mine actually.
That's a lot of. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. So is that like a third of the set or whatever that you have there? Like I see
I'd
2
say
rows.
that's about maybe a.
Do I
fourth.
not see them all? I
Yeah.
only see 2 rows.
Oh, these are all that I have in my room.
Oh,
Yeah, there's like a bunch of them. I don't maybe 3 times the size of that
oh my goodness.
in another room.
So you like collecting? You're a musician, I see.
Yeah.
I like your TIE Advance and TIE Fighter there with your drum kit. That's pretty cool. Little
cool.
Nirvana smoking guitar there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kurt Cobain. That's pretty cool.
what a real one.
All right. Well, your daddy raised you right, so good on him. Oh,
Whoever that is.
that's right. So I guess I should let everyone know that is my son, Zane Martin. Thank you, Zane. He actually had jumped on the chat a time or two on Cantina Happy Hour, visiting his old man or just watching himself. He loves Star Wars. Really proud of what he's doing and what he's trying to do with himself and his ambitions. And I love the fact that he gets that whole perception thing, that it's not about, Nihilus is evil because he consumed an entire planet. Come on, he was
He
hungry.
had to survive.
Yeah, thanks. See, he gets it. He gets it. He gets it. He gets it. There's no one over there. I just oh my goodness. So one of the things I want to touch on with Palpatine before we dive off into our last segment. Palpatine was looked at as this mad emperor in episode 3. He's screaming, he's screeching, and he's chasing Yoda, and I don't get that. I don't get that because I believe he could have played it cool and been just as effective. And what ended up happening because of that, all of the fear and respect that me, a child of the 70s, growing up watching, all that I had for him was gone. He looked ridiculous. He wasn't scary. He wasn't ominous. I mean, that was the first time we saw this holographic thing, and it's ginormous, and Vader's kneeling before, like, what? Emperor. No, he turns on to the Wicked Witch. You know, it's like, what the hell, man? I loved the Emperor. I loved everything about him, and then, you're killing me. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Did they play up a little hard on the whole dark side, losing your mind? Absolute power corrupts. What do you think?
I mean, from his point of view, Yoda was like the last Jedi, you know? You can't help but think that he was a bit excited for that moment.
Oh, you think he was just giddy? Are you serious?
Well, I mean, we saw that he won the fight. He had the upper hand.
Yeah, you're right.
He was doing.
Oh my God, he was giddy. I didn't even consider that.
Either that, or he is.
Well, I just lost more respect for him because he was giggling like a kid.
I only say that because in the Clone Wars there are a good amount of scenes where he is laughing, jumping around, fighting.
True. I don't.
Could be the duelist in him.
The duelist. Well, Zane, thanks for that. I enjoyed your time today. We've got one more segment, and then we'll close it out. But I wanted to bring up that part about that power and his corruption, but also that he looked crazy going into our last segment. So our last segment is we'll do a fan theory throwdown, where we'll take a fan theory and try to pick it apart or support it or say it's crazy, and upset people. I don't want to upset people. I want to influence them. And also, if we don't have a fan theory to look at, we'll look at some art, a book, something that we can talk about for a couple minutes. What we have this week is from Fabian Schlager. He is an artist over at Sideshow Collectibles, and he did this piece called, I'm trying to remember what it was called. Great. I'm terrible. This piece is called, I have it right here, Darth Sidious Unlimited Power. So looking at this, he looks ridiculous. No, okay, look, straight up. Dude, this guy, Fabian Monk, is like his handle. He's fantastic. I love this as, even with what I said a while ago, I love this because it's showing not crazy, it's showing mad. And I think there's a huge difference in caricature, in comic, in this way, to artistically define mad with power. I don't know. That's my thought. Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah, you can definitely see the rage coming out of him. I really like the addition of all those lava rocks as well.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah,
lava. I mean, you can think of Mustafar and the connection there, but you also can think of just the fact that, I mean, hatred kind of goes hand in hand with heat,
yeah.
hot fire, and with the light. I just think it's crazy how they really put a lot of effort into showing how he both has control and doesn't in the same picture. I don't know if that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, totally.
But I mean, at one point he's holding that lightning while he's got the other in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one hand's just kind of flowing out there. One's
So
right here.
I would love to take another path from what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
He's a conduit. Like he made himself, of course, in Rise of Skywalker, but he made himself a conduit for the dark side of the Force. He didn't just want to own it or consume it; he wanted all of it, and it all to flow from it. So I really appreciate, even though I was a while ago, I appreciate this. I think that's all right, so we're gonna close out our show and talk about a couple of things. So first of all, we went through and talked about Ahsoka, and we talked about the dark side characters. We're not sure what that's gonna look like, but you know, crystals bleed red. I'm just gonna say that. And we also went through and talked about Palpatine. We talked about how his vision and ability to move pieces, say in chess, in such a way it was unmatched. He didn't have to come conquer. He did it internally. It was amazing. And then we also talked about how he and we can use those lessons to influence lessons of influence to make ourselves better and grow the people around us and make them successful too. So next show, I think we're gonna take a little bit deeper dive into the rule of two. And I think that this is a good segue using Palpatine, who most people know, and then going now. Let's go backwards maybe a little bit. So we'll talk about Rule of Two on the next show. Zane, thank you so much for being a part of this with you, old man. I hope I don't embarrass you. You don't have to share the link. It's all good.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take it easy, y'all. Thank you. Wait. One more thing. Go to YouTube. Geek News Now Official is our new channel. And we have shows that I mentioned in the front. All of that will be down in the description. We want you guys to have a great day, have a Sithy day, and don't get burned on the dark side. Just kidding. That was ridiculous. I'll never end like that again. Bye.